Hey friends, Kathryn here from Research Rockstar, and we are going to talk about data again today. And this time I'd like to talk about something that we can do to make sure that we are optimizing data quality by choosing the right methods and optimizing the design of whatever method that we're choosing for a particular project. And one of the ways that we can do that is by harnessing the power of lessons from the field of behavioral economics. Now, if you haven't read this book yet, I hope you go and get it. Thinking Fast and Slow, the classic by Daniel Kahneman, has been a very popular book among the market research and insights profession for a few years now. And the reason why it's been so popular is because so many of the behavioral economics lessons that are put forth in this book have real implications for, again, how we choose what methodologies we're going to use and how we're going to design specific projects. So, why should anybody in market research and insights care about behavioral economics? Because it really does have lessons that apply to us. And not only is it just sort of good lessons for any market researcher to know, but they actually address some of the specific challenges that we face in market research. One of the challenges we face in market research these days is when we have situations where there's concern about whether or not the data that we have collected is accurate. That is, are we collecting data that is accurately describing customer attitudes or behaviors? And sometimes there can be cynics or skeptics, and it's understandable, right? We all know that market research data, whether it's from surveys or focus groups or in-depth interviews or social listening or anything else, is not perfect, right? So there's no such thing as a perfect data source. Big data isn't perfect. Predictive analytics isn't perfect, right? There's no such thing as perfect data. So we always strive to get our data to be as good as possible. And one way we can do that is by making sure that we are choosing the right method and designing the project using best practices and using current knowledge about customer attitudes and behaviors. And that's why I love this book so much. My copy is full of highlights and notes, and pages are folded, and the book is about twice as thick as I originally got it because I have so many notepads, papers in it with all my different ideas. If you haven't read it, I highly, highly recommend it if you are in the market research and insights field. So let me get more precise. What's a specific example of something that we can apply from lessons in behavioral economics to our work as market researchers? To answer that question, let me just start with one of the key concepts from his book, which is the concept of fast and slow thinking, or in the book it's referred to as System 1 and System 2. And so here the model is that fast thinking are when we have those fast responses to things. If you see a picture of a puppy, you have a reaction. It's automatic. It's low effort. It may not be logical or well thought out. It's just an unconscious, automatic reaction to a puppy. Everybody loves puppies, right? And then maybe you're at an electronics store and you're looking at a display of laptops, and there are 10 different laptop models in front of you. Your reaction there may not be so fast. It may be more slow. You're looking at all of these different models. You are in a situation that is very controlled. You have to put a fair amount of effort into looking at these different models. You're being more logical. You're making more of a conscious choice about how you're prioritizing whether or not these different models of laptop are going to fit your needs. So in behavioral economics and in Daniel Kahneman's book, the concept of thinking fast and slow is really about how humans react to things. And there are certain things we react to fast and certain things we react to slowly. So what does that mean to me as a market researcher? Well, as a market researcher, I have cases where I want to do research to discover and measure people's attitudes and behaviors towards specific products. So let's take an example. Let's imagine I am doing research on sneakers, and I really want to understand how people are making choices when they're buying sneakers. How are they deciding what's important to them? What attributes are important to them? How do they make the decision about which specific pair of sneakers they're going to buy? Now, in a survey-based methodology, I might do that using some sort of trade-off exercise. I might do discrete choice or max diff or a simple constant sum question. So let's use the example of constant sum. In this case, I might have a question like this. Please distribute 100 points among the following 5 items based on their importance to you when buying sneakers. An item that has no importance to you should be given 0 points. The total must equal 100. And of course, in an online survey, the enforcement of the 100 points is automated and people get reminders so that they do the math correctly. Let's imagine my features are low price, washable, colorful, available online, and designer brand. So obviously some people are going to put more weight on low price. Other people might put more weight on designer brand. Everybody's going to have different responses. But with a constant sum question, I can look at that in aggregate or by subgroup to understand the prioritization of the features. But here's the question. Is buying sneakers a fast or slow process? When you buy sneakers, do you weigh out the importance of price versus color versus designer versus washability? Or when you go to buy sneakers, do you kind of say, oh, that's the brand I like, it's the size I like, it's a color I like, boom, very quick. Or maybe you have an even quicker process. Maybe you simply go and you say, you know what, I just want whatever's the least expensive. That's my shortcut, that's my heuristic. I'm just going to go and buy the least expensive pair of sneakers I can find. So different people clearly are going to have a different level of engagement when buying sneakers. However, how many people really go through a purchase process that is as robust as doing a constant sum, let alone a max diff or a discrete choice exercise? So the point is, if I'm thinking about how people purchase different products, and I'm thinking about the design, in this case of a survey, is there a mismatch between how I'm asking people to think about their purchase process and how they're likely to do it in the real world? The point here is that one of the things that I found really inspiring when I was reading Daniel Kahneman's book is it was this reminder that there are certain things that are hard for people to self-report to us accurately. They may want to tell us, if we ask them in a survey, something that's more logical and rational than is true in real life. Now, to be honest, as a market researcher, I've known that for years, right? I know that there are certain things that are hard for people to self-report to me. I know that just by asking people questions, I can be influencing their answers. I know that there are certain things that people are going to over-rationalize. However, now with this greater context of behavioral economics, it's really helped me to have clarity about my thinking about when I am going to recommend different methodologies or specific designs within a methodology based on these concepts of fast and slow. So for fast process products, constant sum may yield inaccurate data because I'm forcing people into an artificial thinking process. I'm not mimicking what they're likely to do in the real world. I am asking them about something in a very artificial way. So that doesn't mean constant sum questions are bad. It just means that they're maybe more appropriate for products that are likely to use a slow process. So perhaps if I'm doing research about cars, awesome. Constant sum, max diff, discrete choice, these all take a fair amount of cognitive effort. These are slow processes. So a car is a major purchase. That might be a fair choice. However, if I'm talking about buying, I don't know, dish soap or pet food, am I really going to go through a process in a survey using those types of questions? Is that going to reveal what I'm likely to do in real life, or is it going to be artificial? And so I think the lesson here that I took, that I hope is of value to everyone, is when we're thinking about what our product category is that we're trying to research, we really have to think, is this a product category that is likely a slow purchase or a fast purchase? And then let's pick the methodology and design that methodology appropriately. So again, this is just one example of how reading Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow has had an impact on me as a market researcher. And again, in some cases, it's not that it was something that was entirely new, but it gave me a clarity and it gave me a way of thinking about things that I find is very effective, not only for my own work, but also in sharing with clients and colleagues as well. The whole concept of behavioral economics and some of these concepts like thinking fast and slow has provided a way for me to easily articulate to people why I'm making certain recommendations and why certain choices will not be a good choice if we're interested in data accuracy. So I hope that was a great example. If you haven't read the book, I really encourage you to get it. You can buy it new, or on some of the online retailers, there are a lot of used copies, so you can get it pretty inexpensively. And if you are in market research and insights, I can just about guarantee you that if you read the book, like me, you will end up with a copy that is full of highlights and notes and sticky notes and pieces of paper sticking out, because there are so many lessons that do apply to our work. I hope you enjoyed that conversation today. If anybody has any questions, do let me know. And if you are interested more in learning about behavioral economics and how it applies to market research, there have been some awesome articles published on this. I encourage you to look on Quark's Marketing Research Review. They have had some articles on behavioral economics as it applies to market research over the last few years. And also, if you just go ahead and do your own internet search, you'll see that some really reputable market research blogs have also written about market research and behavioral economics. So you can really learn a lot more just by reading some of the great articles that are out there. For those of you who are students of Research Rockstar or would like to be, we also do have a class on behavioral economics for market researchers. And this class is a class that meets once a week for 4 consecutive weeks. So it's an hour and a half once a week, just for 4 weeks. It's got some really cool homework assignments so that you get to apply the lessons to your own work. So check that out at training.researchrockstar.com. The name of the course is Behavioral Economics for Market Researchers, and the price of that course is currently $379 per student, and we do offer volume discounts. Have a great day, everyone, and do be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.